Alright everyone, it's time for Occult Literature, video number 329, Medical Fashions of the 19th Century. Link in the description of my edition of this work on Amazon. Second and third links to my books, blogs. This is 50 pages, so it's on the shorter side, but it's a very, very valid work, especially with our current paranoid medical situation. If you look at the superstition that people see around right now, need I say more, with regards to the pandemic and the response thereof, it's funny because it's actually kind of similar to some of the things talked about in this particular book. Now, why would this go under occult literature? Because it touches on things that are loosely associated with folk medicine, such as homeopathy. Before that, you had, prior to the Thomsonian method, at the beginning of the 19th century, you have the tendency of megadosing medicine. By the end, because the surgeons and apothecarians started offering scripts at no additional cost through doctors, they start microdosing, actually. There is a modern counterpart to the homeopathic microdosing strategy, actually in Silicon Valley. We see people there talking about doing that with LSD and certain zootropics. And it's very, very interesting. Not sure whether it actually affects their work output, but they claim that having a microdose of LSD once in a while gets them more sleep or keeps them more productive or whatever. Anyway, it goes up through. It talks about bleeding, talks about literal folk medicine, like in the sense of herbal simples a little bit, which had some, usefulness even by this point. This is at the end of the 19th century. It's funny because at this time that this was written in the 1880s, germ theory was not yet considered proven. You literally had a debate over whether the little creepy crawly things you saw under the microscope caused disease. And it's funny because in some cases they were misidentifying bacteria and bacillomania, specifically. And tuberculosis was one of the big things that they talked about. And they claimed, of course, at the time prior, that was caused basically by bad air. So they'd go up to Davos and places like that to be in better air, especially alpine or dry air, to try to prevent tuberculosis. Of course, a change of lifestyle can change whether you're having symptoms. Most people with tuberculosis today have none, have no symptoms because they have proper nourishment. Well, if a malnourished city dweller breathing coal smog all day suddenly moves to an alpine location where they're eating good food, because of course if you're going to Davos you would have been from the gentry, you probably would have improved significantly. Many such cases of consumption going the way of the dinosaur because of it. It did work, not for the reasons they suggested. So it's funny, because actually one of the biggest concepts of this particular work is that what is fashionable is put ahead of what is evidenced, and that's still happening literally right now. We see certainly a political framework being utilized in medicine at the moment that it ought to be absent, honestly. Again, I'm not allowed to say much more than that on YouTube specifically, honk honk. If you want my real views on that sort of thing, you have to use one of the new tech sites that I use, like Rumble or Odyssey or something like that. But anyway, it's a fascinating work. I think it's most notable for the sections on things like homeopathy, hydropathy, and things like that. Some of the bizarre methods of the time they used, and also the section on sewer gas is hilarious. The idea is that the foul air in sewers especially was anathema to health. Partially true. At the same time, of course, we know that it doesn't magically spawn viruses and bacteria. That is coincidental to the location. This happened during the Great Plague, by the way, the Black Plague. They thought that it came from the miasmus was coming off of swampy, low-lying outcroppings near towns. They were correct, but not for the reasons they thought. It wasn't because it smelled bad. The bad smell is your body's warning, hey, this is an unhealthy area full of bacteria, essentially. So again, link in the description of my edition of this work on Amazon. Second and third links to my books, blogs, highly recommended and very much valid as well in this current superstitious Dark Age 2.0. That's about all. Peace out.